So with the closed beta for Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis ending very soon upon the making of this video, I want to go over what I have seen to be the top 5 frequently asked questions about Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. What's up everybody, 40 the Broadway Saiyan here, and welcome back again to my YouTube channel where I have another video on the closed beta for Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. Before we move on with the topic of this video, I want to encourage you guys, if you enjoy what you see on this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, comment on this video what you think so far of Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis now that the closed beta is coming to an end. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section as well. Leave a like on this video and share this video out to your friends who are interested in this game. I also want to give you guys a big thanks for taking the time to engage on the recently released videos that I've done for Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. You guys know that I'm working on rebuilding the channel and trying to get the YouTube algorithm back on my side, and you guys have really come through and leaving comments, leaving likes, sharing the videos, and just overall engaging with my videos, which I cannot thank you guys enough for doing that. So thank you so much for all of the support on my recently uploaded videos for Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. But enough of that, we're gonna go ahead and get on to what I think are the top 5 frequently asked questions from playing through the closed beta, and so far from what we've seen on the trailers for Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. So, the first question that I'm going to answer is, when does Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis officially come out? Well, if you guys are iOS users or have access to an iOS device, if you go into the App Store and you go into the pre-registration for Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, you will see a placeholder date for September 30th, 2023. So it looks like this game has a forecasted release around the end of fall. They have a placeholder date for September 30th, 2023. Now, can this date change? It can absolutely change. As you guys have seen, for those of us that took part in the closed beta, they gave us a survey to give feedback on what could potentially be improved with the game. And if they are going to be taking these, suggestions into consideration, we could see a later release date, but it looks like it's forecasted to be around the end of fall, which is September 30th, 2023. The next question that I want to address is, how is the gacha like for this game, and is it fair? How are the rates? So I know that's like multiple questions rolled into one, but because they are all related, I'm going to bundle it all into one question. So first off, I think there's been enough footage shown, not only from those who have played the closed beta, but also with the previous trailers, they've shown that this is a weapons-based gacha game. So if you've played games such as Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia or Final Fantasy Record Keeper, you will primarily be pulling for weapons. However, there are these rotational banners called stamp banners, which will also be featuring a piece of gear for a featured character. Now, the gear is in the form of an alternate costume. When that character has that costume equipped, they will get a stat boosted, and they'll also have another parameter boosted, such as, for example, Cloud's Murasame costume also increases the potency of his lightning-based attack. So you're primarily going to pull for weapons, and you're also, at every now and then on the featured banner, is going to be pulling also for a piece of gear for a featured character. Now, in terms of, is the gacha fair? Are the rates good? You guys saw that I've already showcased this as far as the closed beta goes, but 5-star weapons, which are the highest rarity of weapons, are at a 7.5% rate to pull. That is very good and a lot better than other gachas that I've seen that were released in 2023. Not only that, but they also have the stamp system, where if you do a multi-pull on a stamp banner, you have a chance of earning anywhere from 1 to 12 stamps. At 6 stamps, you are guaranteed the featured weapon of your choice, and at the 12th stamp, you are guaranteed the featured gear. And you actually have, it's a low chance, but there is a chance where if you do just one multi, you can actually get all 12 stamped. Recently, I've seen a video by fellow content creator Simply Lost. Congratulations to you, Simply Lost. He did a multi on his video, and he actually got 12 stamps, which is crazy. I'll leave the link to his full video down in the video description as well as the pinned comments, so you guys can see it for yourself. But that's a really cool system that they have to the gacha, which I think is extremely generous. And not only that, but they also have an edit feature where you could select which 5-star weapon you want of a particular weapon for a character to appear more often or have a higher chance of appearing. So let's say you're building Cloud's, I don't know, his Apocalypse, sword. Let's say you want the 5-star version of that. You want dupes of that. You just select that on the stamp banner, and you have a higher chance of pulling that particular weapon for Cloud. So with all that put together, along with a very high rate of 7.5%, I think so far it's a very generous gacha. Now, I know there's a lot of you in the comment section that are saying, oh, they're going to change those rates. Closed beta always tend to have higher rates. I don't know, guys. I've played other closed betas, such as a recent one that I played was the closed beta for Honkai Star Rail. And when I compared the rates for the closed beta for that game to the official release, nothing changed. So unless Square wants to lose money or piss off Final Fantasy VII, fans for this upcoming game, I am of the optimistic opinion that the rate and the generosity is going to stay the same. But if you guys feel like they're going to change it, I ain't going to change your mind, but I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to stay optimistic that they're going to keep these generous rates and these generous features for the gacha available on the official release. All right, so that was a loaded answer for that second question. So my third question that I've been seeing frequently pop up is, how is the combat for Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis? Well, the combat features an ATB gauge that slowly fills up during combat. While that is slowly filling up, your characters will be automatically doing their standard attacks. Once you have a certain amount on the ATB bar, let's say you want to use a skill equipped on a character. Let's say you want to use Thunder. Thunder costs 3 bars of the ATB gauge. As long as you have 3 or more bars, you press that, you use the 3 bars, you use a skill. It's pretty simple. As your characters use their skills and take more damage, they'll get access to their limit breaks. You also have access to 2 different stances, which is your offensive stance and your defensive stance. You usually go into your defensive stance if you know a big attack is going to be coming from like an enemy boss, or let's say you want your heals to be more potent and you took a big attack. That's when you could switch over to that stance, pop your heal, go right back into offensive stance, and continue to push pressure on enemies. But pretty much the combat, I think, is very engaging. It's pretty simple. There's nothing too crazy about it. And when it comes to these JRPG mobile games, the more simple it is, the easier it is to understand, I think, the better, and the more, the longer you'll keep your fans playing your game. So that is going to go ahead and cover the combat for the game. The next question that I want to answer that I've been seeing frequently pop up is, how generous are they with the currency that you get to pull on banners? So there's 2 different types of currency. I'm just going to call them blue currency and red currency because I don't quite remember the official name. I wasn't really paying attention. But the free version is the blue currency. And if you take into consideration the pre-registration rewards, and if they mimic the daily rewards that we get from this closed beta, and let's say they port that over to the launch, which I'm crossing my fingers that they do because they were really, really good login rewards, I'm going to say that it's pretty generous when it comes to getting the currency, because not only do you get that, you get a pretty good amount from clearing story, you get a pretty good amount from clearing solo content, you get a pretty good amount from clearing the harder versions of the story chapter dungeons, and there's also multiplayer, and within the multiplayer, for a certain amount of players that you meet for a first time, you're given the currency. So you get a lot. You actually get a lot of currency. Not only that, but there's mission rewards, there's jumpstart rewards, daily rewards, weekly rewards. So there's plenty of opportunities to earn the currency. And from what I've observed so far, it's pretty generous. Now, is it as generous as other games that I've played, such as Dissidia Opera Omnia? Maybe not, but it's pretty generous for another gacha game that I've played. And, I haven't really come across another gacha game that has really, really good generosity lately. And this game potentially could be another one that is very, very generous. So in terms of the currency that they give out, from what I've observed and from what I've experienced, it's pretty generous. And the last question that I'm going to address is actually a controversial one. It's stemming from a lot of early Doom posting about the game. But that question is, do you think this game will die very quickly? I really think that's a silly question, but if you want to have that type of a thought process, I'm not going to stop you. But for one, this game isn't even officially out. It's just in closed beta. So to say the game is going to die when it's not even officially out is really silly and a bit of a hot take. So that's my answer to that. And do I think it's going to die early on? I don't think so, and I think this is stemming from the fact that a recently, shut down Final Fantasy-based mobile game, which is Final Fantasy VII First Soldier, was handled very poorly, and I think because of that, a lot of fans have been a little skeptical and worried about another Final Fantasy VII-based mobile game. They're concerned, and I understand the concerns, because we've seen that not be successful. It barely lasted a year, so of course, naturally, we see another Final Fantasy VII-related game, and we're like, oh no, is this going to be like that one? Well, in terms of First Soldier, I know that a lot of my peers who are content creators and who are ambassadors for the game were saying, yo, this is a battle royale third-person shooter game. Can we please have a PC port? Can we please have even a console port? Because when it comes to those type of games, like it's games like Fortnite or even like PUBG, it had a very similar gameplay to that. It's battle royale, it's third-person shooter. Why only restrict it to mobile? I don't get it. And after constant feedback of telling them, yo, we need a PC port, that would have probably made it a bit more successful, and they didn't listen. I can see why that game died out. However, with Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, this is another shot at a re-experience of all the different Final Fantasy games that have existed. So you got the original game, you got Crisis Core, we have for the first time First Soldier, so we have a story version of that. We're going to be seeing Before Crisis, we're going to be seeing Dirge of Cerberus, possibly we're going to even be seeing a playable version of Advent Children, which was the movie. So this is going to give us an opportunity to experience that story within this game. The gameplay is pretty much almost like a turn-based RPG. It's a little bit more active, but the gameplay is different from First Soldier. I don't see them repeating that same mistake because it's a completely different game. And I know a lot of you are also concerned, oh, well, what if they run out of story content? Because let's be real, once they get to the end of the main game and all the other ones, what is there left? Well, there's potential collaborations that could happen. We've seen that there's other content we could play. There's solo content that we could play. There's the summon content where we can eventually battle the summons. There's harder versions of dungeons. There's multiplayer. There's events. There's a lot of things that they can do. So I think to doom post and to be a bit gloomy about this game already dying even before it's been released, it's a little silly in my opinion. But if you want to hold on to those opinions and those negative thoughts, I'm not going to stop you guys. You guys are very much entitled to feel how you want to feel about a game. But me personally, I'm staying optimistic. I'm trying to be as logical as possible with this game. I personally enjoy the closed beta. Are there things that can be improved? Absolutely. And I will be making a separate video on that in regards to the closed beta experience. But for now, this is going to go ahead and conclude the 5 frequently asked questions that I've been seeing for Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. Thank you guys again for watching this video. Hopefully you guys found it informative and helpful in terms of preparing you guys for the official release for Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. Thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned for the next video and stay blessed, everybody.